Conducting business abroad has always been difficult, and while technology may make things a little bit easier, it's still a challenge to fit exactly what a consumer wants in a specific market. Hi, I'm Neil A. Caruso, and today we're going to talk about that. I read an article from Rakita Puri in Forbes. It's an article from 2014 talking about how culture is key. And she quotes Bill Decker, a consultant for Partners International. He was a consultant for 22 years. And he says something very interesting and profound. He said, quote, "I have several questions that businesses should be asking, but are failing to do so. What color should the product be? Colors had different meanings in different cultures." Now think about that for a second. It speaks volumes because, yes, a color, blue in today's society, red, orange, maybe neutral colors to you, but in another society, in another country, it could mean something different. And that's just an example, one example of many. Decker even mentioned, well, how do other cultures feel about women as CEOs? In the United States of America, women in power is welcome. And I think we've gone beyond that. However, in other cultures, they may not feel the same way. As a business manager, you need to find exactly what the consumer, what is appealing to the consumer, and what is appealing to managers. So when you're making deals with people and conducting business with international partners, it's increasingly difficult because you don't live there. You may live in New York, where I am. You may be in California, and you don't know exactly what things are going on in Japan, and you don't know how to fit the consumer there. It's not easy to just make a global product that's going to fit every consumer. Now, an example I want to talk about today is communication. Communication is key. As journalists, I should know. Now, communication, key to success in every walk of life, in every business. You need to be able to communicate effectively with people, pitch your idea, make deals. And it's very important to be able to connect with people on a personal and professional level. However, when you're dealing internationally and going to other countries and dealing, with different business partners, communication can be difficult. For instance, German people tend to speak loudly. I know some German folks who speak very loudly when they get excited about things. You may not expect that. In Japan, they seem to speak a little softly from some of the research that I've gathered. So, when you're meeting with people, you got to be in tune to that. For instance, in Japan, a lot of times when you're conducting business in Japan, Japanese partners, they bring about 20, maybe even 30 people to a table to conduct a deal. And you have to convince every single person that your product is worth their time. It's not easy to just convince one, then they could convince their own partner. No, in Japan, you have to convince all of them, most of the time. So, different countries, different cultures, how do you effectively pitch your idea? And then, how do you effectively take that product and tailor it to the consumer? Simply being aware of your customer's basic needs in a market will help you to convey your message. So conduct research, do market testing, understand your customer in a specific market, whether it be in the US or abroad. And you have to understand localization. Let's take radio stations for an example. A local radio station thrives because it's live and local. The two key elements to conducting any business. And even if you're a big organization, you need to understand live and local. And here's the trick to live and local. When you listen to a local radio station, what do you want? You want local weather. You want local traffic. What is the mayor doing today? What are the issues that I care about here in my hometown? What's going on in my home city, around my area? So that's why local radio stations thrive. Yes, on a national level, there are other advantages, but only your local radio station understands your hometown, your city, like no one else. Same thing with TV and radio. They understand your local market. They've been there, they thrive in that local market, understanding you as a consumer and what your needs are. As a business, you have to act like a local radio or TV station. What do those people care about? What issues affect them? And whatever your business may be, understand what works and what doesn't. What will alienate a certain group? For instance, the presidential campaign, when Ted Cruz, who is out of the campaign now, when he made the comment about New York values. I'm a New Yorker. I didn't like that very much. Us New Yorkers are good people. But when he made that comment, he alienated the Northeast. So you need to understand what marketing works in a certain area and what doesn't, and focus your advertising around that. Always conduct research. Now, communication is done in many forms. It can be verbal. And verbal communication is important. I mentioned just sitting down and conducting a meeting with people from Japan or Germany. Two very different nationalities, two very different cultures. How do you conduct business with them verbally? What works? What doesn't, right? How do you fit those consumers in those different countries? However, people don't realize body language, very key. Places like Japan and China, they're very traditional cultures. You have to sit up straight, to be respectful to your elders. Things that people don't always think about in the U.S. The U.S., it may be easy for us, anyway, we're Americans, to conduct business on that level. And communicating comes second nature. However, body language is something you need to be aware of because there are different cultural differences, whether it be change of vocal tone, whether it be shaking hands. Do I shake hands? Do I hug? Do I kiss? It's like a Seinfeld episode. How do you even approach somebody? What is the proper way? Do I arrive 10 minutes early or do I get there right on time? Little quirks. And you need to figure out what works just in conducting a business meeting from selling the product. When I put something out on television, does sex sell like it does in America? Or do I need to fit a more traditional group? All those things will help you to effectively communicate to your consumer. So when the Bill Decker, who's the consultant in this article I referred to from Forbes, talks about businesses understanding the different cultures and what color a product should be. No one even thinks about a color, but sometimes you may alienate a certain group. So you need to understand the different variances, and communication is so key in effectively selling a product, from verbal communication to nonverbal communication. How you conduct yourself, sitting up straight, shaking hands, do I hug, do I kiss? All those things will matter when you sell your business.